Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about an order from a district court judge, Paula Zenas, to the United States saying, return Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who, by the United States' own estimation and concession, was mistakenly transferred down to El Salvador, where, among other things, to even increase the outrage of it, not only was he not subject to deportation, he had a special order saying that he was TPS, as it were, meaning he couldn't be deported. And why not? Because would he be deported, he would be subject to actual violence against him in El Salvador. So they pick him up anyway. They send him down anyway. And the prison, I mean, we were calling it a prison, but you almost could call it like a concentration camp. That's literally no one has ever gotten out of that prison. You're just there and you suffer every day until you die. And there's a picture. Abrego Garcia's wife is back here. They have a 5-year-old autistic child and 2 other children of hers that he's helping to raise. He has never been convicted of any crime whatsoever. And there's a picture that she identified of, this guy with a shaved head, buckled over and being kind of roughed up, that she says is her husband. Okay, so this is a really remarkable set of legal submissions by the administration, but basically here has been their position. Yeah, we took him. Yeah, we made a mistake. Yeah, we brought him down to El Salvador. Yeah, we're paying to bring him down and for the imprisonment, but there's nothing we can do or you can do to get him back because it's not in your jurisdiction, Judge. And we don't have jurisdiction, and it's just down there. So they want to make this, it's a little bit reminiscent of what they tried unsuccessfully to do, the United States, that is, in Guantanamo, have this sort of relationship where you can drop someone off and have them then be beyond the reach of the law, at least the U.S. Law. Judge Zenas was having none of that. Really none of it. She totally, and you can imagine, I think this goes without saying, but it's the ultimate nightmare, right? And to actually a guy be, disappeared unjustly and in this hellhole. And the Trump administration's response was just stunningly callous and just a hyperbolic example of the Donald Trump credo and principle: never say you're sorry. So Pam Bondi tried to say, well, the immigration judge who had said before you can't deport him, he works for us and me, and so what? So you could order him out, but it doesn't matter. He wasn't subject to the order that was the sole source of authority for those first 2 planes to go down. J.D. Vance, man, even worse, basically says this guy's a terrorist, a member of the group, and he was deportable, so good riddance to bad rubbish. He was not deportable under the order. They made a mistake. And by the way, it's tenuous in the extreme to say he is a gang member. There's apparently one informant in New York where he has never lived who once suggested that he was, and it didn't pan out. As I say, he's never been convicted of a crime, and he's like, a family man raising 3. It's just completely repugnant. And Trump said the same thing. Basically, it really does seem like they like this fight in a way vis-a-vis the public and MAGA. They're kind of happy that, liberal judges are insisting on due process and the like, and they're there to say we're getting rid of terrorists, which this guy is by no estimation by no stretch of the imagination at all. Okay. Now, there was a problem coming in, you might have thought. I mean, I thought she would be really up in arms about it, would be the Judge Zenas, and she would order them, because you can't order El Salvador, but order the U.S. to make best efforts to bring them back, and don't give me this bullshit that you can't do it. We're in bed with El Salvador for this very operation. We are paying for the very incarceration, so, you can prevail upon them. And I thought the order would give a nod to the U.S. position that you can't interfere with foreign policy, and that they're now in El Salvador, by saying something like, you make your best efforts, and if those best efforts aren't good enough, whoever made them and didn't succeed, I want them here in my courtroom next Tuesday to put them through the same ringer that Jeb Boasberg put administration people through yesterday in his very probing and deft hearing. Judge Zenas didn't do that. She issued an order that just said, I'm not sure if she doesn't realize it, or she just doesn't, isn't going to be deterred by such niceties. But she grants this, she was hearing a motion for injunctive relief from the defendants who came in and told the whole story. She's, obviously thinking, I've got a constitutional violation to remedy. And so she simply says, I'm granting the motion for a preliminary injunction, and defendants are hereby ordered to facilitate and effectuate the return of plaintiff Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia to the United States by no later than 11:59 p.m. on Monday, April 7th. I had predicted Tuesday, but that, basically, I think we could see what was coming. Now, it's in effect the same thing. If maybe they show up Tuesday all abashed and said, we tried, but we couldn't. But then we're off to the same kind of, I think, really, probing pushback from her to the whatever luckless attorney shows up to give that message. And I think she will push very hard to say, I don't want to hear any excuses. Get him back. I know you can get him back. And then if the president and administration fold their arms and say, we just can't, that will make for a really interesting pitch battle, and maybe a whole different kind of contempt set of hearings, potentially to lead to contempt. But, I think her operating assumption, I think it's the accurate operating assumption, is if we want to get this guy back, we can get him back. And rather than even telling them, I want you to give it your all, she just said, I order him. I want him here no later than midnight next Monday. So there you have it. Very forceful. Just want to add one point, which is, this is the one person that the United States has conceded, we screwed up. He shouldn't have been on the plane. In fact, the opposite. He had protection from going to El Salvador. But there's certainly suggestions swarming around and representations by different attorneys that he's got a lot of company down there in this sort of, gulag for life and disappearing of people. And we don't have a whole manifest of who's down there, and they may, but they haven't provided it. So anyway, there, I think, could be repeats of this scenario coming up. But in the meantime, Judge says, I want it Monday at midnight. The DOJ could try to take that to a higher court, the Fourth Circuit, but man, they are looking really weak if they're trying to say, okay, we screwed up. You need to break a few eggs to make an omelet. And okay, this guy has been disappeared forever, but sorry, nothing to be done. I don't see that flying in the courts. It's just their, highest responsibility to try to remedy exactly this sort of flagrant violation of due process. So stay tuned. It'll be dramatic if he's not there Monday at midnight. I wouldn't bet the house that he would be yet, but I would bet the house that if he isn't, the administration hasn't heard the last from Judge Zenas. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.